Hey everybody, Mike Toy here with Bonsai Boise. So this is my mini irrigation sprinkler setup for my bonsai trees. And today I'm just going to go over some of the pieces and parts that I use for this and go over some of the do's and don'ts that I learned mostly the hard way and give you an idea of, maybe how you can set yours up. Every system is going to be very specific, of course, because your yard is a different size than mine, and you have different benches in different places, maybe more, maybe less, all kinds of different factors and variables. But hopefully you can use what I'm about to show you to piece yours together in a way that works best for you. As you can see, I've got quite a bit of space there to cover, so I learned a few things doing this. Like I said, a lot of it the hard way. That's what I'm going to try to save you from. Here's a look at a lot of the main pieces that you'll end up needing. Kind of a variety pack here. You won't need all of them. The main thing is a timer. I've got a 4-station timer. So the top part just goes into your hose spigot right off your house if you like. And then you can hook up 4 different stations. So that way if you want to water station number 1 at a certain time for 10 minutes, you can do that. Water station number 2 for 5 minutes later, you can do that. It's just battery powered, waterproof. So that's how that works. Next, you're going to need some of this 1/2-inch irrigation hose. It's super cheap. I think I bought 100 feet of it for like $20 at a big box store. Then you'll probably need some of this 1/4-inch hose. That's about, I want to say 50 feet was $10. Something else you might need is some of this soaker hose. It's 1/4-inch soaker hose. I use it on a few different trees, maybe some trees with bigger pots or that I think just need a little extra water. It's not something you have to have. It's just something that I do for, I've got a few trees, and you'll see in a minute where I feel like they just need more water than some of the others. So in addition to giving them some sprinkler, I'll also put one of those around their trunk. Then you're going to need a whole bunch of these different fittings. You'll need end pieces like the one I'm holding there. Kind of like that. That one can be used for a couple different things. End piece or connector. You'll need some elbow pieces. You'll need some T fittings. It's hard to say for sure what you're going to need, and I can just about guarantee you'll probably end up making a run or two to the store to get some pieces that you end up needing. Then, most importantly, I think, sprinkler heads. I get these on Amazon. I get 30 of them for $10. These are copper headed. I've gotten the plastic ones before, and they work okay, and I still have some, but I find that these copper-headed ones work much better, and they're super easy. You can pop them on and off anywhere on the hose. It doesn't hurt to have one of these little accessory packs. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's. I think that was $10 for that. But there's a bunch of different types of plastic-headed sprinkler heads. Some that are fully round, 360 degrees. Some are 180 degrees. Some are 90 degrees, just to, water a corner. Then there's a bunch of little end pieces there for the 1/4-inch hose. Elbow pieces and end fittings and kind of like that. So it doesn't hurt to have one of those. You'll need something to cut the hose with. I use one of these. Probably not meant for that. There might be something better, but just something that I had handy. Give you an idea there of how it goes. And this little guy I used for this 1/4-inch hose. It's kind of easy just to stick it in your pocket as you're going around doing it. It makes quick little cuts on the 1/4-inch hose. You're going to need some pliers. And then this. Don't do like I did the first time and cheap out. Use one of these. That's to poke the hole into that 1/2-inch hose to put the sprinkler heads into. The first time I think I wanted to spend $5 instead of 10, and I got a different kind. Get the kind that actually punctures it for you. You'll be glad that you did. And here's where those pliers come in handy. You put one in the wrong place, oops, you're gonna have to pull it out, just like that. That is the first kind that I bought. I think I spent $5 on that instead of $10. Use this one. There's a little demonstration of just how quick and easy it is. You don't think that it will make a big difference, but it does when you do it, 100 times. Here's a couple other demonstrations of how this works and how you can save some money doing it too. I like this particular kind of fitting. It goes on really easy, and then you just twist the top part of it and it holds in place. It's easy to put on, it's easy to take off. It doesn't come off, accidentally. But it's a lot easier than this other kind I'm about to show you, which is more plentiful. So this kind here, you have to really work to get it on there. And once it's on, it is on. But I'm going to give you a tip on how to get it off. Because pulling it off is almost impossible. It takes forever. And at the end of the season, if you want to take it apart or make adjustments, you don't want to have to go out and buy a bunch more end fittings or end pieces. And fittings. So what you do to get it off, take your needle nose pliers, pinch that hose down right at the base of it, then pinch it on the other side. Stick one end of the needle nose pliers in, the other end is outside of the fitting, and boom, pops right off. Then you just cut that bent up piece. That will save you a lot of effort. So that all being said, let me show you how these things pop on there. This is something else that I do if I've got to get a sprinkler head to a spot that it can't reach very well. I'll take some of this 1/4-inch hose, take one of those 1/4-inch connectors like so, pop it on there. Kind of wheel it on. Take the sprinkler head, put it on the other end. And then you can pop that into your 1/2-inch line. That way you can kind of angle it in a direction you want it to go, or it could be longer. It could be 3 feet long if you wanted it to. And then you can get it right to the spot you want it to go. It's just an easy little hack to get those dead spots. And if you really want to get fancy, take a little bit of bonsai wire that you got left over from something, wire it up, and then you can get really precise with it. You need to get it to a very specific spot. You just bend it right to that specific spot. I've done that quite a bit, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, some examples. Here's a quick little animation on how this whole thing is going to work. That's a splitter. Your hose goes in one end of the splitter. Here's all your little fancy bonsai benches. You take your timer, you put it on the other end of the splitter. And the reason you do that is you still want to hose your other trees when you want to. You connect up each station with a hose. Put some connectors on to angle it however you need to angle it. Put an end cap on, don't forget, that's pretty important. Pop in some of those sprinkler heads. Voila. So here's mine. Here's that splitter. I'll show you here in a second what that splitter does and how it works. See, I still want to be able to access my hose when I want to. So the first thing right off the bat is a Y splitter like that. That way I can still hose when I need to. Then the timer's on the other end. Currently I'm only using 3 stations. The 4th station is just capped off and not set to anything. Kind of had to get a little tricky there to go back in the opposite direction. And then I just drilled some holes into those wooden benches and stuck some of those little, I don't know what they are, metal wire things. And here's an example of that soaker hose that I was talking about. This ficus is rather big and kind of needy for water. So I just hooked up a little extra soaker hose and wrap it around the trunk just to make sure it gets enough water. And then I just run the hose line. I could do this a lot prettier. I had to do it in kind of a hurry this year because I moved and it was getting hot and all the reasons. But you could do it a lot prettier than what I did here. You could hide the hose behind it, you know, there's just a lot of different ways to do it. I'm going to turn it on manually for a second so you can kind of see it in action. There it is. Now, inevitably, at some point or another, a sprinkler head is going to pop off of it. Maybe it wasn't in all the way, or who knows. When that happens, you know, it just fires this direct assault on a poor, unwitting Japanese maker. So you go and you turn it off for a second. By the way, you will get wet in this process, most likely. You take your needle nose pliers, pull the broken one off. If you're lucky, you'll find the head somewhere. About half the time I do, half the time I don't. And then you take a new sprinkler head and you just kind of pop it in there. You might have to do some adjusting. You usually will. Turn it back on. There you go. Adjust it so that it's spraying more than squirting. Works like a charm. Here's another idea you can do. You take one of those elbow pieces for the 1/4-inch hose. Put a little 1/4-inch hose on it, pop the sprinkler head on that, and then pop it in. That way you can move it around. Check for this. As you're going along, you're checking everything. You can see how this tree is half wet and half dry. You're going to have that in spots, and you want to keep an eye out for things like that. So what that means is either there are leaves blocking it like that, or something got adjusted somewhere and bumped around, or maybe you moved a tree, or who knows, and you need to fix it. So remember that bonsai wired up piece we demonstrated earlier? That's what I'm going to use for this. Kind of figure out which way I need it. Pop the new hole. Wrap that wire around it. Angle it exactly where I need it to go. It does take a lot of tinkering. But I think I got it just in the right spot now, so we'll turn it on. Probably have to adjust a little more. And there you go. There it is. I'll tell you one thing, do not skip the 1/2-inch hose and use the 1/4-inch hose. I know there are some companies out there that sell that idea, but don't do it. It doesn't have enough pressure. You'll get just a little trickle out of all the sprinkler heads. So whatever you do, be sure to use the 1/2-inch hose and haul all of your sprinkler heads and 1/4-inch hose sprinkler heads coming off of that as the main line. And yes, I took the time to set one up the wrong way one year and had to undo the entire thing and redo it with 1/2-inch hose. So there we go. Now I got it adjusted and it's getting that tree exactly the way it should. So those are just examples of some tinkering that you're going to have to do. So don't be afraid to do that. You might never get it perfect. I'm always messing with mine, probably more than I need to, honestly. But you'll always have to tinker with it slightly. Here's another example. I've got some cuttings and whatnot down under my bench so they're not in direct light. And I just ran 2 or 3 feet of that 1/4 inch hose off of the main line. It goes down and under the bench. That way it still gets to the cuttings and seedlings and whatever other vulnerable type of trees I've got down there. Because I don't want to have to run another 1/2 inch hose all the way through. So that's what I found to be the easiest way. There's some Trident maple cuttings that I took this year, and apparently it's working because they're still growing. So here's a look at the whole system. This is station 1. So that's station 1 there. Here's station 2. I have station 2 broken up actually into 2 different sections, so this is the first half of station 2. And over here is the second half. Everything's getting nice and soaked. I all the time find dead spots. Even if you get it, this is what I found too. I always ask, man, how did I miss this? But you probably didn't miss it. You probably got it just fine. And then you take a tree off and you work on it and you put it back and it's in a slightly different spot. And you take a different tree off and then you put it back. And then you figure out this one needs more sun or less sun. So you move it around. And next thing you know, everything's a little different. And that's how those dead spots kind of reveal themselves. They were always there. There was just no tree to kind of reveal it before. So definitely keep an eye on it. Don't set it all up and then go on vacation for 2 weeks and assume it's perfect. It's probably not. Here's station 3. Also, things change. Trees grow, of course, and as they grow, they start to block certain sprinkler heads. So keep an eye on that as well. But that's it. That's my system, and that's how I do it. That's how I would, recommend starting at least. I hope it helps in some way. You'll have to customize yours a little bit. But I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave me any comments and suggestions you have. Have a good rest of your day.